It's all about the macro productions.
What does the goddamn line say, Tony?
Please do not use gendered language.
Then what? I'll be arrested, put in airport jail?
Look, you're going completely sideways, man.
It's a big club, and you ain't in it.
How dare you?
Mr. Speaker, the President of the United States.
I'm Chris Hansen with Dave on NBC.
Jack Marius Tack Theratrix.
Hi, I'm Spartacus.
Jackson, Sacramento, he, him. Steven Seagal.
Sex offender guy.
I'm Keith Morris.
This is Muammar Gaddafi.
I'm Rick James, bitch.
Sorting through the lies.
The hijacker's passport was found blocks from the World Trade Center crash site, if you can believe that.
We cannot track $2.3 trillion in transactions.
And uncovering the centuries-long plan for world domination.
Learning about Cuba, having some food.
Let's talk about Chinese people.
Have you ever been in a Turkish prison? Swangles and Fort Lauderdale?
I have sent 6 of my Libyan missiles to blow up the Sears hardware department.
Nothing could be more fun than jumping off a cliff with 2 German bisexuals.
Oh, you English are so superior, aren't you?
Thank you, comrade.
And now, macroaggressions.
That's what assholes call it.
With your host,
Buddy, I don't know who you are, but you're about to get chlamydia.
Charlie Robinson.
Hey, Whitey, where's your hat?
You want to drop the blame on Charlie and say it's all Charlie's fault.
He was a retard.
I get some goddamn diuretic.
Welcome to Macroaggressions. I'm your host, Charlie Robinson. If you are watching us on Rumble, band.video, Vigilante TV, or you're listening wherever podcasts are served, thanks a million. We appreciate your amazing and continued support as we push towards 10 million downloads, really? Oh, there was a time I thought I was just talking to myself, which I probably was. Thanks, everybody, for supporting the show. If you haven't rated it, take the time right now. It'll take you 5 seconds to just give us a 5-star review. If you think we've earned it, I think we have. But if you think we have, macroaggressions.io is the website that will give you information about the podcasts and the books and the news sites like Activist Post and Natural Blaze and all that good stuff. And we appreciate our sponsors so much. They make this show happen. Wise Wolf Gold. I've been a member of the Wolfpack gold buying program, gold and silver buying program now for a little over 2 years when it started. It's a dollar cost averaging service. It allows you monthly buying of silver and gold. You set the limit. There's a couple different programs out there, $500, $250, $100, $50, whatever you feel comfortable with. It allows you to just set it and forget it, like the old infomercials, and you'll just get a box sent to your house once a month, and in that, silver and gold and whatever. Whatever makes the most sense, Tony and his team will organize it for you. They put it together, best bang for your buck, most metals for your dollar, and you'll just start dollar cost averaging into silver, which is a great idea to stack silver. So if you're thinking about turning some of your soon-to-be worthless Federal Reserve notes into tangible metals, Wise Wolf or Wolfpack Gold is a good way to do that. You can go to macroaggressions.gold. And of course, you guys know Tony Arterburn, the owner. He's been on here plenty of times. If you have questions, you can reach out to Tony and he'll set your mind at ease. If you want to turn your IRA or 401k into physical gold and silver because you're freaked out that it's all in stocks and you think the stock market is going to implode, you might be right. And Tony can do that. Not everyone can. So if you've got $70,000 sitting in your 401k and you're freaking out, go to macroaggressions.gold, reach out to Tony, say, please help me. I want to do this now and not after the fact. So check it out. And also, if you're somebody that needs Bitcoin, wants Bitcoin, Wise Wolf Bitcoin. Tony's new project. So check it out. Everybody, go to macroaggressions.gold. Just look for yourself. See what you think. Check it out. And also to our friends at Chemical Free Body. Tim James is a lunatic when it comes, in the best way possible. I say that with as much love as you can give a man without it being too weird. Tim James is a fantastic guy. He saved his life by changing his diet. He is so passionate about it. He's been on this show more than anybody else. Because every time he comes on, you want to run through a wall once you get done listening to him. ChemicalFreeBody.com/macro is a great landing page. If you want the 90-day detox bundle, get it. It's life changer. It's green 85 drink in the morning, capsules in the afternoon. It's easy to do. Do you have the new Water Hero? He's built a water filtration device that'll blow your mind. You can install it on your house. He has some that are just pitchers, just like a Brita pitcher. You can get one of those. So look, there's too much going on to explain. Go to chemicalfreebody.com/macro and just take a look for yourself. And look, if you're waiting for someone to save your health, you'll be waiting a long time. You're going to have to do it yourself. chemicalfreebody.com/macro. Okay, now that the business is out of the way, ladies and gentlemen, it's my pleasure to introduce to you my new good friend, Mr. Doc Malik. Hello, Doc. What's up, Doc? I feel like I have to say from my cartoon education background. How are you? It's really great to see you in person. You and I have been talking on the phones a ton. What in the hell is going on?
What do you mean new good friend? New best friend?
New best friend, really. I told Drew Treglia, I said, since you hooked me up with Doc Malik, I talk to him all the time. I talk to him more than most of like my friends back home. He goes, man, I feel the same way. He goes, I love the guy. I said, I do too. He's fantastic. So I have to thank Drew Treglia, director of Barnum World, for making the introduction. And you and I have been talking now for the last month, and we keep cracking ourselves up because it's like, I'll watch part of you. You'll be interviewing someone, and I'll be like, he's asking the questions that I want to ask. He's doing the thing. I feel like there's a lot of overlap in what we're doing. But I'll tell you, let's start here. For those in my audience who are unfamiliar with you, you have a very interesting story about how you got into this whole thing. And whenever I talk to doctors who were doing a great job and had a stable career and came up against the fuckery of the medical establishment and had to change their lives, I always wonder how you guys feel about this, because you have there's such a sunk cost in becoming a doctor, and all the time and effort and passion, love and studying and memorization, and you can't go out tonight because you got to work on this, you got to study more, and all the things you postponed or put off because you had to invest the time and effort into this, and you get into this career and you're going to make a difference, and you are making a difference, and then the system changes, and you see it, the system for what it is, and you have to make a calculation. Do I stay in this beast system, or do I make a move and get out of it? And for all you guys that made the move and got out of it, I have so much respect for you, because I can't even imagine how hard it was. I went to school with a lot of people who became doctors. I know that they're very smart and they had a lot of options out there, and they chose that profession for a variety of reasons, but mostly because they knew it would be a good place to help people. And when you go through all that, and then you get to a point where you no longer can help people that way, I guess you have to make a decision to help people a different way, right? So what's your story? How'd you get to where you are here?
Dude, I love that question. You're like me, you talk too much, and it's like the longest goddamn questions in the world. Just wait 1 second. I need to say something really important. I fucking hate you. Dude, you've got the best intro to any podcast I've heard yet. I freaking love it. So, like most people, like they tap the 15 seconds forward, like they want to get over that shit. Like, oh, here we go, like forward. And then it gets to the podcast. Go, okay, oh, forward too much. Let's go back a little bit. Dude, I'm that sad guy that keeps playing it back. I go, no, I need to listen to it again. I mean, it's freaking amazing. Please do not use gender language. What? Otherwise, I'll be put in airport jail? Like, what is airport jail anyway? I mean, and there's like
airport jail. That is a clip. That is a clip from a great early 90s movie called Honeymoon in Vegas. And it's Nicolas Cage is trying to he's at the airport, and he's desperately trying to get on a plane to Hawaii to save his fiance, who's being dragged away by James Caan. And he's dealing with an idiot at the airlines, which we've all dealt with. And he has just a freak out that I totally have always related to. And it's like, what's the worst that's going to happen? You're going to take me away and put me in airport jail. I feel like that every time I go to the airport. That line runs through my head. So you're not the only one.
And there's so many good lines in that intro. How dare you? And then the hijacker's passport was found blocked from the World Trade Center crash. And then it's like, we cannot track 2.3 trillion in transactions.
Well, they wrote it for me. Don Rumsfeld and all of the the media people and the politicians who made those ridiculous sound bites. Democratic Socialists of America. No, I forget which one. Was it the Democratic Socialists of America, or it was the American Communist Party or something, was having a meeting. And there's 3 clips from that. There's "Thank you, comrade," and there's "Please do not use gendered language." So there's a big, you can watch it. It's a video of it. You can watch it. There's an Asian lady at the front who's trying to run this shit show, and she's got a bunch of leftists in the audience, and half of them are autistic, and so they're freaking out about how much talking is going on in there, and they're saying that they're like overly stimulated, and like, please, can we, stop? It's not just the gendered language they want stopped. They want people to stop talking because it's triggering people who are wearing headsets and lanyards. It's just a bunch of lunatics in this thing. And I watched that episode.
2 more lines.
I watched that.
There's 2 more lines, right? Oh, you English are so superior. Good thing I'm not English.
That is A Fish Called Wanda. That's Kevin Kline, who won an Academy Award for his role in there. That's part of the Canada's coming to kill me part. If you've ever watched that.
I haven't. I never watched that movie.
Oh, Fish Called Wanda, or another one of those early 90s. It was all filmed in London. So it's an American movie, but it's a British comedy, and it's John Cleese. I should check it out. So it's just fantastic. So you have to laugh.
Then there's a couple more. There's a couple more. You're about to get chlamydia.
So there's also a television show that was on for a while, and it's off now, but it was called The League. And the league is about a fantasy football league. And it's just all these guys that are in this fantasy football league. And that in and of itself is not funny, but the writing for it is fantastic. And there's a character in there whose name is Rafi. And Rafi might be the greatest comedy character ever invented. In fact, I saw an interview with the creators of the league, and they were talking about this character Rafi. And they had him picked out, but they couldn't use him in the first season. They told him, be patient. We're going to put you in season 2, but when we do, you're going to be the greatest character that's ever created. So there's a YouTube video called Best of Rafi, and it's like a 5-minute compilation of all of Rafi's comments, but they're super cut together, and completely out of context, but even listening to it, it doesn't matter because they're so funny. But part of it, there's like 3 different clips from Rafi in there. It's just one of those things that when I was making that intro, I
found it on YouTube. I'll watch it later. Beauty. I found it on YouTube. I'll watch it later.
Yeah, do. And then you'll just crack yourself up.
Then the last one is, he was a retard. He's thrown in as retard.
He was a retard. That's from Hangover.
Right. And also, you know what surprised me? I listened to your Spotify. By the way, I need to apologize. My internet's really slow. So basically, the tech guy was
your internet's fine. Your internet's fine. It's just when we record on Riverside, everything looks blurry. So it'll look good in.
Oh no, I know that. I record on Riverside too, but trust me, my internet's a bit slow. But anyway, I just want to say, I didn't know, because I listen to you on Spotify, so I don't see any video. I didn't know you zoomed in your camera so much. Like, I feel like I'm out of balance. I've got microcephaly. I've got a small head. Like, maybe I should come forward.
So tell us about Zika. How did it affect your life?
It just ruined it. My head just shrunk. But like, yeah, but I didn't know you did your intro, like your ads and everything live. Like, listen, everyone listening, he actually says it with passion. Like he doesn't have the shifty eyes. He says it like straight to the camera with all this purpose and sincerity. Like he really buys all of this stuff. Like he's saying it, like he means it. So guys, buy his shit, sponsor his show, give the 5-star fucking review. It takes 2 seconds, not 5 seconds, and it's like,
I know.
Damn it! Just
thank you.
Press the button. Just
thank you
because it helps the algorithm.
Over the years, I've come to have great personal relationships with many of the sponsors of the show. Like I went last week. I went out to lunch with the owner of C60 Power. He's one of the sponsors here. Their company is not too far from me. And Ken, the scientist, he's a nuclear scientist. I go out and we talk about things that I don't really fully understand, like Moxie fusion, but he talks to me about it anyway. And I've just built great relationships with these sponsors over the years. I like them. I trust them as people, and their brands, their companies reflect who they are. And so, like, if I'm going to have sponsors, and I do, I've got to have them. I might as well get the best ones. I might as well get the ones that I drink Grain 85 every day. I'm set up on Wise Wolf. You know, I mean, I drink C60. I take C60 carbon 60 every morning, and so do my cats. In fact, I got them hooked on it to the point where Ken had to send me more bottles. So yeah, I use the products. I believe in it. Yes, thank you for noticing. I do actually want people to improve their health and improve their wealth and, you know, get out of this mess. And if I've got a sponsor that can do that, go for it. And if we can all make money doing it, right? If the listener can get a product or service at a discounted rate that works for them, that actually works, and the company can sell something and sell their product, and I can be in the middle of that and get a commission. I come out of real estate for 25 years. I'm used to working without a net, you know, being all commission based. You know, if nobody wants to buy a house from me, I don't eat. If nobody listens to this podcast, well, I don't eat. You know, so I have a vested interest in making it as good as
Charlie. But you know what? Podcast doesn't really work. You shouldn't be paid for this. This is ridiculous. This isn't a real job. Remember, this isn't a real job. This is just we're just having fun. This is just not a real job.
It's just the best job.
It's the best job. No, but who doesn't want to be part of a wolf clan? I mean, that's pretty damn cool. You know, it's like it's fine. Like you can actually read those things out, and it's like pretty cool. Like I feel sorry for comic Dave Smith. I love the guy, but like sometimes he's like his sponsor goes, and I use these Y fronts boxers, and they're the best fitting boxers, and I'm like, jeez, oh my god, you're actually saying this? Like, oh my god, like a boxer company is sponsoring you, like, and I've been wearing the same boxers for like the last 10 years, and they don't stain, never ever, they wash out. Like, no, like that's the best sponsor you can get.
So funny is that funny that you say boxer company, because my old roommate, when we after post college, one of my old roommates and best friends started a really great boxer company back in the early 2000s, and they made these great. We would have, you know, like cardboard boxes filled with all the different types of boxers in our garage all the time. And they actually did make fantastic boxers. So if I was going to do an ad for boxers, it would have been for his company. And I would have been able to rightly say that his boxers last a long time because I kept them. I was one of the investors in it. So.
Oh my God, that's hilarious. Right. So I don't have any sponsors. Not yet anyway. I have subscriptions from Spotify and Substack. And I've got a few affiliate codes, like stuff that I use, like food stuff. But yes, you know what?
Barnum,
this is important.
Great Barnum World article you wrote.
Oh, you read it. Thank you so much. Yeah, like, you know, he's the man. Like, and Drew Treglia, I just love him. Legal man.
Me too.
I mean, how cool is he? I miss his handlebar mustache from Jones Plantation. I mean, he just looked the part in that, like, those sidebars, those shifty little eyes.
We went out when we were in Arizona for the premiere. We went out to dinner the night before, and then we went out to brunch the morning after the Saturday show. And Legal Man is just the best. he walks into a place and the people treat him like he's important for whatever reason. I noticed that like he was getting like, he's got an aura about him. He is Mr. Jones. He's Mr. Jones in Jones Plantation. He's Natty Jones in Barnum World, but he's got this aura, and he's a fun guy. Talk about a guy who's had it with the situation out there. He's described himself as not being black pilled but cyanide pilled, which I think is funny.
I know. That is funny. Right, should we get the show started now that we've done the introductions?
Oh yeah. Let's start. Yeah. Anyway, welcome to the show.
Or was this the end now? All right, cheers, bye. Have a nice day.
Tell everybody where they can find you, Doc.
Yeah. So like, should we answer your question? Your question was like, I could do such a long question, man. You're so long-winded.
I know, but you got into this. You were fixing broken legs, and now you're doing a podcast. How does that happen? That's the short version.
Right, I'm gonna do really, really short. Like I'm gonna try the shortest answer ever. Okay. 25 years, surgeon, spoke out against the bullshit. Hospital said, bad doctor. I said, fuck you. Hospital said, fuck off. I went, okay. And then I became a podcaster. That is it in a nutshell. But if you want to watch the 2-hour interview, where I explain every single little nitty gritty, just type in, Doc Malik, James Delingpole, and there's like a 2-hour interview. But basically, that's what happened, mate. I was like a consultant orthopedic surgeon working in private hospitals. I've come from a really poor background, and no violins. I'm just explaining, like imagine Detroit post all the car companies have left. That's what Glasgow, this town in Scotland, is like. It's a blue city, worker, blue collar town, very deprived in areas. All the shipyards closed down, all the coal mines, all the steel works, and it's just like a shithole. Like, it's just concrete jungle, heroin addicts, alcoholics. This is in the 1980s. Did you ever watch that movie Trainspotter, the Scottish one?
Yeah. Heroin,
Ewan McGregor, like that. Like, imagine that. I grew up in that, right? Like a brown Asian kid amongst a sea of white poor people. like that's me. Right. It was not easy. But I worked hard. I worked like a fucking dog. Like, got my grades, got into med school, became a surgeon. But I never thought of myself as better than anyone, like most of my surgical colleagues, because I came up from that background. Like, how can you ever think you're better than other people? So I was always a bit of a misfit. I didn't fit in. I didn't like the way other doctors acted and behaved. Most of my friends were not doctors. And then when COVID happened, it was just one of those things. Like, I'd already lost faith in the medical profession. I'd already given up on the public health system, NHS. And when COVID hit, I was like, what the frack is going on? And small caveat, for about 2-3 weeks, I did fall for the fear porn, but I snapped out of that very quickly. And when I saw the vaccine injuries happening and like my colleagues talking about it, the neurologists, the cardiologists, all that kind of stuff, they're telling me how their clinics are heaving and their private practice is booming because they've got all these weird and wonderful vaccine injuries. I'd be like, well, shouldn't we be saying something about this? And, I had seen it as well. Turbo cancers, autoimmune conditions, clots, you name it. Neurological problems. Because, believe it or not, even though I was a foot and ankle surgeon, some things present at the feet. So, for example, MS will present with numbness and altered balance in their feet. So people come to me thinking there's a foot problem. And I'm like, actually, it's a neurological problem. Like that. Or they'd come to me with swollen calves. And I'm like, you've just had a clot in your leg. So that's what I mean. That's how I was seeing this kind of stuff. I also had patients I was treating who would suddenly get resurgence of their cancer that was apparently clear 10 years ago. And like, they're dead in 3 months. And I'm at their funeral. Like, God rest her soul, one of the people I was thinking of. So, I was like, guys, we need to speak up. And they literally laughed at me and were like, you must be kidding. And at that point, I was like even more disgusted at the medical profession. Because not only are they arrogant, they've got this hubris, now they're totally like just staying quiet about this serious problem we're seeing. So I did a little tweet randomly off the cuff and said, look, maybe there's something going on with this, worldwide experiment. Maybe we should stop and investigate what's going on. And immediately the private hospitals contacted me. Like, I'm talking about within 12 hours. Legal letters, stop, cease and desist, never post a video on this topic, never talk about this topic, take down your video, and if you don't, there will be repercussions. And I'm looking at this letter, it's just before Christmas 2022, and I'm like, what the fuck? Like, what? Like, and I wrote back to them saying, surely it's better that, you know, you investigate what I'm saying and just say to me, Ahmed, actually, we've looked into it, there's nothing to worry about, rather than just say, shut up, don't talk about this, and there is actually a problem. And they didn't respond to that. And then there's a campaign of harassment for 6 months and bullying, and eventually they got me on, oh, you're transphobic. And you know, you're going to love this, Charlie, and I'm going to let you talk after this, but one of the anonymous tweets that they used against me, I actually got from a FOIA request, is Johnny C. Holmes. Do you know who Johnny C. Holmes is?
Oh.
Johnny C. Holmes is a 1980s American porn star who was known to have a really big dick.
Yeah, I do know who John Holmes is. I didn't know him as John.
So John Holmes came back from the dead to fuck me, literally. They used his account to say, look, you're transphobic, your conspiracy theories and blah blah blah. We're referring you to the licensing board, blah 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 blah. And then they suspended me, and then they kicked me out. And then another hospital kicked me out because apparently my guest Ava Bartlett said the truth, which was there are some officials in the Israeli government asking for ethnic cleansing of the Palestinians from Gaza, and that's all there. It's on the net. And I suspect 2 Jewish foot and ankle surgeons referred me to the hospital that I was working at. I don't have proof, but they contacted me literally before I was suspended, so I suspect it's them. And the hospital said we've had some internal complaints, and we need to investigate whether you're anti-Semitic or not. So for 5 months I was suspended. At the end of this investigation, they cleared me. But within a month of that suspension, I actually just handed in my notice and said, fuck you. And I gave back my license. Now that might be really weird because I don't know any doctor who's handed back their license other than Suzanne. No, actually not Suzanne Humphrey. I don't know anyone actually, because basically doctors are programmed to hold on to their medical license. It's their everything. It's their raison d'etre. All those debts, all those hours of studying, hundreds of hours studying the exams and tests. You want to hold on to being a doctor. Well, I've by that point, my podcast was up and running 6 months. I'd already spoken to so many doctors across the world, Canada, America, Australia, New Zealand, Zimbabwe, and I saw what was happening, the process. It was lockstep, by the way. It's anonymous complaints, suspensions, investigations, process is the punishment, and then you get kicked out or you get this perpetual suspension and you lose money in the courts, you lose money by not practicing, and you lose all strength and vigor and you're depressed and demoralized. So I knew the playbook. And at this point, I was like, here's your license. It's clean. You can't say I've been struck off in disgrace. It's impeccable. Thank you very much. I'm going to go and do my podcast. I'm going to monetize it. And I'm going to keep speaking out. Ta-da! That's where I am.
That's great. Dr. Andy Wakefield, we've had on before, and we've talked about that. I mean, he went through something similar 25 years ago, but still talking about vaccines, get on the wrong side, get the complaints. Next thing you know, there goes your license, or they want to suspend you. So yeah. That's
and you know what? But you know what it taught me? What it taught me is, have you heard of the thing, first do no harm?
Yes.
What does that mean to you?
I thought it's like a Barnum statement for the medical industry.
So Barnum statements, for those of you who don't know yet, and tut anyone who hasn't watched the video, check it out. It's on YouTube. It's free. There's no look, don't go watch Netflix or Amazon Prime tonight. If you're thinking what you're going to do, cozy up next to your partner, he or she or whatever just go on YouTube, Barnum's World. Just watch it. It is freaking epic. So Barnum's World, Barnum statements are vague statements that could apply to anyone, but the funny thing about them is you always think it's tailored to you, the individual. So it's the kind of thing that horoscope people and palm readers use. Like they'll be like, "Oh, you're like a really good soul, but you've made some mistakes in the past." And everybody goes, "Yeah," and it's like, "Yeah, well, that could be fucking everybody." So that's a Barnum statement. But listen, first do no harm is meant to mean first do no harm to the patient. Right. Medical ethic. But you know what it actually means in reality? Do you want to know?
Do no harm to the system, probably.
Even worse than that. You should press M now for marker because you can make a short out of this. So first do no harm means first do no harm to my medical license and registration. First do no harm to my career. First do no harm to my reputation. First do no harm to my income. First do no harm to my pension. First do no harm to my private kids, my kids' private schooling. First do no harm to my 2 holidays. First do no harm to my mistress. First do no harm to the patient, but only as long as I'm following the guidelines and protocols. That's what first do no harm means. And if people think I'm being like joking or flippant, I'm not. Listen, look, all these doctors are under instruction how to behave. They're no longer clinicians, they're automatons. They follow the guidelines and the protocols. They literally follow the computer screen. Computer says dispense. I'm going to dispense you this drug. And that's literally what happens. The computer program will come up. This is a 65-year-old patient. They're high risk of cholesterol. Prescribe statin. And the GP will make sure to give them a statin, even if they come in for a headache. The guy will come in and like, I've got a headache and flashing lights in my eyes. Yeah, I think we should start you on a statin. And they have to do this because the computer told them to. And because they have to hit their targets. And if they don't get 90% of their patients on that in that profile on that drug, they lose out on their bonuses. That's how it works in the UK anyway. I'm sure it's the same in the States. So these doctors are all following guidelines. Yeah. Guidelines and protocols. They aren't thinking out the box. They don't actually know what true health means. They've got this myopic vision of, one small thing, like, they're an expert surgeon on their right little toe. They can do minimally invasive on that right little toe. But if you ask them to help with their sleep or their diet, they won't have a clue, right? So these highly educated but highly ignorant and indoctrinated people following the system, doing as they're told because they don't want to jeopardize all of the above list that I just gave you. Next time they're sitting in front of you and saying, "Oh, by the way, I think you need to start this medication or take this injection or have this operation." How can any sane person believe or trust that doctor anymore? How do they know that that doctor's giving them that advice because it's in that patient's best interest and not because they're doing first do no harm to their license, reputation, pension, salary, blah, 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 blah. And the honest answer is you don't. You don't.
Yeah, there's really messed up and morbid incentives in the medical industry. The structure is set up to not benefit the patient, obviously. I think it goes down to healthcare versus sick care and things like that. And, we could dig all the way back. Rockefeller, Carnegie, getting into the medical industry and making it the medical schools and saying, well, this is how it's going to run. It's going to run on this. And, petroleum-based medical industry is created and it keeps all the doctors on the reservation thinking and prescribing the same way. And then what did it do to all those poor bastards who were just minding their own business as chiropractors or natural doctors or whatever? They made them into complete kooks. Told them those people are crazy. They're going to kill you. Quacks. You're going to be on a chiropractor.
Quacks.
What's that?
They use the word quacks. They created the word quack to describe anyone, not kooks, quacks. Anyone who is like alternative and it's not alternative. The truth is that's the wrong word. Traditional medicine, medicine that's been carried out for centuries and centuries. They deemed it alternative and quackery. And it's like it's garbage. By the way, can I just quickly say something? You've got a really good haircut. How do you look after your head? Like, do you use a razor or do you look one of those roundy shavy things?
I within the last year, I got one of those electric razors that has like 4 or 5 round little blades on it, and you just do that whole thing. But
do you still have to? Do you still have to like get a razor to like just get a few bits that have been missed?
Yeah, around my ears and everything. Yeah,
that's
not a
fine.
razor, but there's a razor component on the electric razor. I can get it around the ears. Hair talk with Doc Malik and Charlie Robinson.
You know me. I like to go off on a tangent.
Spin-off show, Doc.
Dude, seriously, because I just got that thing about a month ago, that little thing as well. I don't know what it's called, gorilla thing or whatever, and I did the little roundy or anything, but it's not like 100%, and I just didn't know if it was me or not, but that's fine. I have to do a little top up as well.
Yeah. Well, it's, it gets you 95% of the way there.
Yep. It's just a good hairstyle you got. I like it.
It's a convenient hairstyle. For those of you listening at home, we share the same hairstyle, and that is a lack of hair. Maybe not a lack of style though. You look like maybe you know your way around the department store, Doc.
Do you get the same problems that I do? Is your mom still alive?
My mom passed away in November after battle with cancer. Not vaccine, not turbo cancer. Well, I mean, it might have been turbo. I mean, it felt like turbo cancer, but it wasn't vaccine related. But yeah.
Dude, I'm sorry to hear that. As you can tell, I only found out about you in the last few months. So basically, my mom's still alive, God bless her. But every single time I go and see her, she pulls up a picture of me when I was 16 and goes, "Why do you not cut your hair like this?" I'm like, "Oh, for God's sake, Mom, I don't have that hair anymore." And it's like, honestly, if I grew out my hair, my beard, it's a cross between Gollum from Lord of the Rings and Gandalf. It's not a good look. Oh, nice. So, yeah, I trim it down now. Just keep it really nice.
Yeah, well, I had long, crazy like surfer hair back when I was in college. So I feel like people take a look at that and they go, first of all, it was not a good look. You know how like some guys can have long hair and you're like, oh, it looks amazing. That was not me. The people would look at me and go, it looks ratty. It looks not well groomed or something. I'm like, it's just long and kind of naturally curly sometimes. But I think I knew subconsciously. I think I kind of knew, like, enjoy it while you can, buddy, because it's going away. This hair of yours, it's not going to be here forever.
I know. My little boy, he's 6. He's got the bestest hair and he grows it out really long. He likes his long hair. And I look at him and I'm like, yeah, baby, you just enjoy that while you can. And then he looks up at me and goes, Daddy, when I grow up, I'm going to have a haircut like yours. I'm like, yeah, you won't have a choice, mate.
Unfortunately. You might. You might. What does your family think of this transition? Because you're I would imagine in the past, you're a surgeon. There's a certain amount of respect that comes along with being married to a surgeon, and there's a certain amount of comfort and stability that comes with that as well. And when things like this happen and someone throws a monkey wrench in your program, maybe you threw the monkey wrench in because you refused to comply, which of course I respect the fuck out of, but you do that at your own peril, right? And then the peril comes. How does the family react to this situation?
Right. Okay. So the immediate family being my wife and my 3 kids. My kids are like now 10, 8, and 6. So right at the beginning when I got those letters, those legal letters from the 2 private hospitals, I was teaching my kids about bullying because it was really bizarre. So many of my patients, in the last few years, I was really treating them differently to how I was brought up because I turned my own health around. I was diabetic. I was significantly overweight. I was like really in a bad way. And I turned it around, and that's another story. And I got fit and healthy and optimized my sleep and my diet and all these kind of stuff and got rid of stress. And suddenly I was feeling younger and healthier and stronger than I've ever been in my life. Like even now, like I'm 50 next week, and I'm telling you right now, I feel better than when I was like 18, right? Seriously. So I started asking my patients the same things, like, what's your sleep like? And what's your diet like? And have you got any stress in your life? And 90% of people had significant stress. And of the 90%, easily a third were like, oh yeah, my kids are getting bullied. And I was like, what? And it's like, at one point in my life, I was thinking like, every kid is getting bullied. I was like, what is going on here? So, that's why I got my kids into jiu-jitsu, because I know it's a good discipline to protect yourself, and you're never the aggressor. It's not like you're not like striking anyone, but you're able to handle yourself. And so I got them into that, and I used to talk to them about bullying quite a lot. So to prepare them, I thought it was better to talk to them when they're young and tell them about bullying rather than when it actually happens. And it just so happened that these letters came to me, and I was like reading them, and I was like, guys, come over here, come over here. And all my little kids came around me. I was like, Dad's getting bullied by his hospitals. What should I do? Like, seriously, what should I do? And they all looked at me, you know, all these little cute little kids, and they're like, Dad, you tell us that if a bully comes up to you, you need to stand up to them, because if you don't, they keep coming back and pushing you around. And I was like, okay, so Daddy, you need to stand up to the hospitals. I was like, way to go. So those were my kids. So they knew early on what was happening. And my wife knew as well, and it would stress her out a little bit, but she was like, baby, keep going, do what you have to do. And then when I said to her, by the way, 2 out of the 3 hospitals have, you know, kicked me out. Another hospital, you know, has only got 5% of my patients. And, you know, you need your practice, just to explain, go off on a tangent again. Charlie, here in the UK, and I'm sure it's similar in the States, but we don't earn as much as the US doctors, but we earn a good amount. 50% of your turnover is actually in overheads easily. And then you've got the tax on top of that. So say you earn $1, at the end of the day, you keep about 33 cents. So if you start working in January, it's only like October, November, December, you get to keep any of the money. Up until then, you're paying your tax, your secretary, your indemnity, your room rental, your equipment hire, your billing, you know, this practice software. I mean, every fucker wants to have a slice of your cake, basically. So overheads are huge. So like if you've got £100,000 practice, £50,000 of that is the overhead. And to start off in private practice, that is the overhead that you need to overcome. So when you're earning like literally £5,000 a year, you're just like, this is just a no-brainer. And I was so stupid when the hospitals had suspended me, like in September. I didn't realize. I thought there's some. I was in shock. I was like, yeah, this, like, what the fuck? This is bullshit. They'll overturn it. They'll call me in for a meeting. By the way, I never got invited to any meeting. I never presented any evidence. I couldn't defend myself. All this was done behind closed doors, anonymous complaints, and their own little, you know, kangaroo court. And then they made their decision and kicked me out. And there's no recourse. There's no like constitutional, you know, freedom of right to freedom of speech or anything like that in the UK. So it's just like you get screwed. And it's not a contract. It's privileges. The hospital gives you practicing privileges, which they can take away whenever they want. So at the time in September, I was like, I'm one of the best surgeons in the UK, easily top 3. I've got a huge private practice. Like, this is ridiculous. I've never been in trouble before. This will be overturned and no problem. So I kept paying like my equipment, my secretary, my indemnity. So I keep paying all these overheads while I've got no income. And then suddenly, like in January, I'm like, I'm in deep shit. Like, what the fuck is going on? So at that point, I was like, I'm not going to spend 10 years building my practice back and, you know, fighting this in the courts. This is just ridiculous. I'm packing it in. And some people might say, well, the bully won then. Well, I don't really think so. I didn't, maybe I had a bit of a bloody nose, but I was still standing. And I thought the best thing I can do is keep speaking out and be so successful, because they would talk about me as the Twitter man and blah, blah, blah. So if they wanted to shut me up, I was going to do the exact opposite to shutting up. I was going to keep shouting loud and proud. So when I told my wife, I'll be honest with you, that day she went up to bed quite sad. She was like, oh my God, what the hell? You're not earning anything? Like, because I was the main breadwinner. But the next day she came down the stairs and said, baby, we're a team. I'm going to work full time. I'm so proud of you. Like, you stood by your principles. Everything's going to be fine. We will make this work. You don't need to worry. It's going to be okay. Right? So that's my wife. My awesome. Siblings were really strange. No one said anything. Even like to this date, no one has ever said to me, oh my God, I can't believe you lost your job, or what happened to you? Like, it was just like, let's not talk about that because he might get upset. My mum, she was like, what have you done? Oh my God, son, all those years of studying. Go back and apologize to them. Tell them you'll never tweet. Stop your podcast. cancel everything. Just say you're really sorry. I was like, Mom, it doesn't work like that. And there's no way I'm crawling back to them and saying all that stuff, because that's bullshit. And so that was that was my mum. And all my ex-colleagues and so-called friends in the medical world, tumbleweed. Like, tumbleweed. And like, just think about, like, you know, I'm operating twice a week with the same anaesthetist who's meant to be my friend. You know, we talk about everything, our life stories, our wives, our kids, and everything. I hear nada from him. Nada. Nothing. And then it was funny, a year later, I bumped into him in a restaurant, and he couldn't look me in the eye. I actually walked to his table. Hey, buddy, fancy meeting you here. He could not look me in the eye. All he said was, everything all right? Everything all right? I was like, yeah, it's great. You're paying the bills okay? You're able to pay the bills? I was like, yeah, I'm paying the bills okay. All right, glad to hear that, glad to hear that. So, yeah, funny responses from people, especially those that I've known for a long time. It's like they didn't want to talk about it in case they caught something from me.
Yeah, it's contagious, you know, that conspiracy theorism. And if you think you have it, see a doctor and ask if this new magical drug is right for you. That's what we get here in the States. We get the television advertisements for prescription drugs. We can't get away from them. It's a very vague commercial. It's always a vague commercial. People out at a beach or at a picnic or doing something, and then the tagline is, you know, ask your doctor if this is right for you. Well, ask those doctors if it's right for you to give it all up and move away. I mean, I'm sure it's not right for everybody, but how are you feeling now in the aftermath, looking back on this? Is this going to be one of those things where this was the best decision you ever made, or are we still in the discovery process of trying to figure out what this is?
Dude, right. First of all, the correct diagnostic term is conspiracy theoritis. You know, you always have an itis at the end. Like pancreatitis and thyroiditis, right? Gotcha. Okay, so that's that. Right, just, you know.
I got a bad flare-up of it. You might have noticed.
So that's that. Look. Can you not record this off the record? It's the worst decision I've ever made. I cry every night. I wish I could go back. No, I'm just joking. I'm joking. Dude, it's definitely by far the best decision I've ever made. I'm so happy, and I've learned so much. Like, the thing is, we get so freaking cozy and comfortable, and it's convenient, and it's not even like just the job, right? Like, there's so many people, oh yeah, I'm okay, I'm happy with this job. Like, well, I'm not really. I pretend I like my boss, and so they're lying, right? They lie they like their job. They lie that they like their boss. They lie that they're happy in their marriage. They lie that they've got a great relationship with their kids. They just lie. Their whole life is a lie, and they're miserable and rotten inside. And then they say, oh, you know what? I'll be happy when I retire. And then they retire. But no one's told them the biggest lie of all, that, you know what? You work 40 hours a week for 40 years, and then you retire. And for maybe 40 weeks, you get to enjoy your retirement pension before you get dementia or cancer or die. Like, it's the biggest lie ever. Whereas, like, you know, I got forced out of something, kind of, but it was ultimately my choice, because I kept doing the podcast and speaking out when I had the warning shots across the bow. And I have to look back, and I thank the system for doing what it did, because, you know, and I have to recognize my part in it. You know, I could have backed off multiple times and said, right, okay, this is getting a bit too hot, too much heat. But I didn't, because I did not want to live a lie. And when you live in the truth and the light, you flourish. So if you look back at me 2 years ago on my podcast, I'm pale, pasty, and I look really sick. You know, I am so healthy. I'm so vibrant. I have so much purpose. I have so much love in my life. Like, my wife is telling me how much she loves me every day, several times a day. And I'm like, what the hell's wrong with her? Like, why? But she comes home and goes, oh my God, I love you. I'm so proud of you. You're so amazing. And then it's also like, what am I actually achieving? I've built in the course of 2 years, like, a podcast almost as good as yours, right? That's pretty damn cool. Like, with the second best intro, not quite as good as yours. Second best intro, yeah. second best intro. Like, just in 2 years, I've recorded 359 episodes. Well, published 350. I've actually recorded more than that. I've got a worldwide audience. I'm doing online consultations, acting as a health advocate, and that's going really well. Check it out, guys. I'm just doing a little internal plug. Check out my website, docmalik.com. And do not confuse me with Dr. Makis. People keep doing that. Really irritates me. And yeah, like, dude, I'm happy. I'm running retreats. I'm going to write a book. Like, but, you know, I might not be as materially wealthy, but wealth isn't just monetary. Wealth is health. It's love. It's purpose. It's spiritual wealth. Like, I feel like I'm running at a different frequency and vibration. And I had a podcast guest, Raj Mangatel. He's head of spinal surgery at the largest trauma unit in London, like one of the biggest hospitals in London. He's head of the spinal department. And he goes, Ahmed, I need to do what you're doing. Like, I can feel the vibration and energy. You know, you talked about Legal Man's aura. He was saying that to me. We went out for dinner after the podcast. He was like, I can feel your energy is a different level. Like, in my department with my colleagues, they're down there. You're up here. I need to get out. How do I get out of the system? And he's coming in 2 weeks' time to my house, and we're going to sit down and we're going to think about how he can do something different. Because he said, I'm 57. If I keep doing this for another 10 years, my soul will die. And it's like, and he's got a booming private practice. He's got all the money in the world. And it just goes to show you, like, there's more to life than just making money. And, like, don't get me wrong, I'm paying the bills. I'm doing really well. The podcast is doing great. I've got amazing supporters who subscribe, just $5 a month for freedom. And turns out there's, you know, quite a few who will do that. Like, it's a small percentage to the overall listenership, but it's enough to keep me going. So you just have to put it out there in the universe, take the plunge and say, you know what, I'm doing good work. I'm going to build something and they will come. And that's where I am. So no regrets. Yeah.
Well, good. I'm glad. I was, you know, we sort of mentioned my mom in passing. This last year, the tail end of last year, I just moved in with my mom and managed that downside end of her life. And one of the things I noticed going through all of this was that at the very end, nothing really mattered to her, except it wasn't about money. It wasn't about status or power or what you had, because her world was shrinking every week. It had been that she used to fly all around the world when she was younger, and then she, you know, now she's was an older lady and she would travel a little bit and do these things. And then it became, once we came back from the hospital, I realized that she was never going to be leaving her place. You know, once we came home from it, she was going to go in and she was never going to go out. And that her world had shrunk to the size of her house. And then it had shrunk to the size of her bedroom plus the bathroom. And then the portable toilet got brought in the bathroom. Then it got shrunk to just the bed. And so everything was just getting smaller and smaller and smaller. And when we were done, when everything was over, I realized that she had a great reputation. And that really was like, how are people going to remember you? Okay, now you're gone. So you're not here. So what's important now? And what was important for me, or what was surprising to me, was I would have these interactions with people that were just tangentially, you know, interacting with my mom. I'd pick up the phone and call the auto insurance company to cancel her insurance because she no longer needs it. And I'm just talking to the secretary there, and the secretary breaks down in tears because I'm telling her about that my mom, and she said, I used to talk to your mom. Your mom was so nice. And I started to think, like, okay, how do you quantify something like that? Like, how do you measure the impact you've had on other people when you're dead? Other people, and I don't want for people to be sad, but other people that were impacted by it, and it was in a positive way. There's nobody saying, "Thank God she's gone." You know, I don't have to deal with her anymore. It was all very warm and loving, and I thought, that's it. And my mom was not wealthy. She didn't have, she sacrificed a lot for me, and I appreciate that. she had a great reputation, and that was the most valuable thing, and you can't buy that. And so when you talk about your doctor friends or even yourself going through this and thinking like, I'm dying on the inside. Well, don't wait until you're on your deathbed to have that realization that there's there's things that are more important than what you're doing. Because I was sad that my mom was dying, but she didn't have any regrets and she didn't have any enemies. And I thought, ooh, it's pretty good way to end it when everybody is sort of saying, you were a good person. You did it the right way. You never compromised your integrity. I want people to say that about me at some point, and I'm going to have to sacrifice some things to get there. A real job, real air quote job, and the things like that. And I'm okay with that because I got a valuable lesson in like what really matters. Like when you're gone, it's how do people remember you? If they think of you as Doc Malik, that guy that cut my, that fixed my ankle one time, and that's great. But if you think of yourself as a guy who caved into the system, maybe you'll never get out from underneath that regret. I'm so glad you did this. I'm so glad you made that move, man. Your world is so much brighter now. It's got to be.
It is. That was a very beautiful description of in a strange way of talking about someone who's dying of cancer, but the way you talked about the world getting smaller. My dad died of cancer as well. He was a great guy, really, really good egg. He was an immigrant, goddamn immigrant. But he was
about
invited.
Those immigrants, though.
Yeah, those bloody immigrants. So he was invited by the country, and he worked his fucking socks off. Like when he was 16, he worked in the shipyards as a welder, and he did so many jobs, and he never ever had benefits. He never got any handouts from the government, and he ended up employing lots of people over his lifetime and being a successful businessman. And he taught us to integrate into the country. He taught us to be proud to be born in Scotland and what a great country it was. And it's bizarre. I think he was like slightly naive and ignorant. He was a little kid then, but he was telling us, when I remember in the 80s, sitting at the back of the shoe shop, he'd be like, guys, this country is a democracy. The press is free. They hold the politicians to account. The politicians do what's best for the country. There's honesty. There's no bribery. You can practice whatever religion you want. You have freedom of speech. This is such a great country you're born in. You should be proud to be Scottish. And that's the kind of like speech. I remember my dad saying, it was really funny because we had a little gas stove burner at the back, and he's cooking haddock but with some curry spices, and then putting in a Scottish morning roll, like proper hybrid, like immigrant meal. But basically I was thinking, could I have that same conversation with my kids who are pretty much the same age? Like, can you imagine me sitting down now with the kids saying, guys, we live in a democracy, it's amazing, the politicians are amazing, the press is free and tells the truth, there's no corruption and bribery, like you've got freedom of speech, like it's the best country. Well, no, dude, how in one generation did it become clown world? Like instead of United Kingdom of Great Britain, it's like the United Soviet, socialist United Kingdom. We're like, it's like with Keir Stalin. Keir Stalin is running the show. It's just like, yes. Like what the hell? Like in one generation, man. Like
there's a great meme that I think of when it comes to like how far you go explaining this stuff to your kids. And the meme is split into two pictures. The picture on top is this dad who's tucking in his daughter into bed, and he's saying, "Don't worry, there are no such thing as monsters. Daddy's here with you." And then the picture underneath is Alex Jones, and it says, they're interdimensional. They live amongst us already. It's like, well, where do we want to go with this? Do you want to say, to your kids, this is the greatest democracy we live under, everything is fantastic? Or do you want to say, look, some of the people in positions of power are reptilian hybrids? Okay. Are we ready for that conversation? Yeah.
I've heard you talk about David Icke on your show. I had him on my podcast. I don't know if you know that or not.
I saw that. And you had Jamie on too.
Yeah, I did.
I didn't see it. I have to watch it still with David. Did you say, hey, hi, David, welcome to the show? And that was David Icke, and wrap it up? Because with David, you just get him going and he'll go for an hour.
Dude, do me a favor. Give me your email address afterwards, and I'll give you comp to my Substack, because that episode is behind a paywall. And I kid you not, I've had literally like 20, 30 people email, message me and DM me and say that's the best interview they've seen David Icke give in over 20 years. And we had a proper,
then I definitely...
we had a proper conversation. It was not him one end monologue. I'll tell you one thing that was really quite funny.
Good.
Before I talk about the government again and what I said to my kids. But basically, dude, a lot of weird stuff happens to me now. I mean, it's really weird. I feel like I'm running on a different vibration and frequency. So David Icke and his son to Derby, to our studio, to film this podcast. And I was like, wow, I've never recorded a podcast outside of my little wee studio here. But okay, if that's the case. And you know, like, you don't, that kind of person, you don't say no to. Like, I'm going to go. So I went up and we recorded in their studio. And for the record, it was shit recording. Their video stopped. The camera stopped. They had audio issues. It was much better in my studio. But anyway, halfway up the drive, I suddenly had this vision in my head of me walking into the toilet area. And I've been there once before. I gave a talk up there on Gareth Ike's show. So I know the layout of their studio and their toilets. And I remembered in my head, I had this vision of me walking in. And lo and behold, on my right-hand side would be David Icke. I could see his white hair with a light blue jumper. And I thought, oh my God, he's going to turn around and go, while he's zipping up, hello. And I'll be like, hey, it's Doc Malik here. God, this is embarrassing. You know, and I was like, and then I kind of like came out of this like vision and I carried on driving, parked up, blah, blah. I go up, you know, because I got a tiny bladder, need to go and wee. And lo and behold, fuck me. Right-hand corner, David Icke, light blue jumper, white hair, taking a piss. And I froze. I was like, what the fuck? Like, what the fuck? And then he turns around,
gotta do it now,
zips up his flyer, just like I saw him. And I went, well, this is embarrassing. I had a vision that I was going to see you like this, you know, and then he goes, well, then it's not embarrassing anymore, is it? David, nice to meet you, Ahmed. And I was like, David, you haven't washed your hands. I can't shake your hands, mate. And he went, I went, give me a hug instead. So he gave me a hug and he still didn't wash his hands. Fucking hell, man. He just walked out.
Oh, he's a savage, man. It's David Icke. He's the best.
Savage.
That's so
savage.
Funny.
Savage.
Yeah. I got the first time I met David was in 2019 at Anarchapulco, and I got, he had a 4-hour speaking slot, and I got there and wound up just getting a front row seat. And I sat there in the front row to the point where I was almost kind of looking up because I was so close to the stage. And he paced back and forth like a fucking tiger, back and forth, doing his thing. And when he got done and walked off the stage, and we were in an air-conditioned banquet hall, like it was like at a hotel, like a proper space, not like the way it's done the last couple of years in Acapulco where it's outdoors. But when it was inside, he was sweating through his shirt. I mean, he was just going. And after 4 hours, you know, after 4 hours, he's just getting warmed up, like on the Wembley tour. He was just kind of that a good shit. But I had the opportunity to see him there at an Acapulco and meet him and talk to him and over the years get to know him a little bit. He's, you know, I credit. There's certain people who I recognize that, like, I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing if it wasn't for them. And David's one of them. Reading his books and watching his presentations, didn't he just feel like he could lay it out in a way that really kind of made sense and you connected some dots, and it wasn't, I don't know. Yeah. It's just one of those, his delivery always worked for me.
Charlie, I'm the complete opposite to you. I mean, like, we've got a lot in common, but there's some things that are not common. Like, dude, like a few years ago, I was like total normie land. Like, I knew 9/11 was bullshit and WMDs was bullshit, but I was still kind of like in normie land. And like, you know, I hadn't watched any of David Icke's videos, never read any of his books. But before I interviewed him, I read his latest book. And I was like, wow, what a deeply philosophical, profound individual. And, you know, geopolitical knowledge, very wise. Like, I'm not saying I agree with everything he's saying. Like, a lot of the things, it's like, it's difficult to prove whether it's right or not. And my take on the whole reptilian thing is I feel like it's a description of their natures. These people are cold-hearted. Like, they're not warm-blooded like humans. Like, they're just cold-hearted, evil psychopaths. I mean, that's as far as I'm willing to take that whole thing about reptilian thing. But we had an amazing conversation, and it was really beautiful, very philosophical, very engaging. A lot of people said to me, like, oh my God, we saw a side of him that we've never seen before. Like, what the hell did you do?
Interesting.
And I think it's because, I don't know why it happened, but it was really, really nice. I really liked it, and I have a lot of respect for him, and I think his sons are great as well, like wonderful human beings. Jamie Ike is such a cool guy, genuine, honest, love the guy. But anyway, going back to politics, you said, like, what do you say to your kids? Like, dude, I tell them everything. So I'll give an example. Like, I did a tweet post, and I read it out to them. Like, they're all sitting there. And I'm like, guys, I want to quickly tell you something before you get back to playing. And they're like, all right, okay. So I said, look, the government, the UK government, and it could be any government, not just the UK government, is not a representative body. It is a criminal enterprise. It's like the mafia, kids. They're like, okay. I said, it poisons its own citizens with experimental mRNA injections, bypassing informed consent and censoring dissenting voices. Do you understand that? They went, kind of. I went, okay. Basically, they stop people like me speaking out against all the bad stuff they're doing. It manufactures enemies abroad, promoting war with Russia while arming Ukraine and Israel, fueling mass slaughter in the name of foreign policy. I said, did you get that? They went, yeah, kind of. I went, basically, they just cause wars, get us all fighting each other. It taxes the population into poverty, only to funnel that money into corrupt deals, globalist programs, and private enrichment. I said, do you understand that? Yeah, Dad, you have to pay a lot in tax. I went, yeah, they take all my money and then they waste it on themselves, and it's awful. It encourages mass illegal immigration, eroding national identity, straining services, and ignoring the will of the people. I said, we're not going to talk about that right now, kids. It's a bit too much. It is orchestrating the controlled demolition of Britain, dismantling our industries, sabotaging our values, and stripping away our freedoms. It is signed on to the 2030 agenda without any democratic mandate, outsourcing national sovereignty to unelected global institutions. It serves transnational corporate and financial interests, not the British people. This is not incompetence. This is betrayal. This is treason. They are not leaders. They are traitors, parasites, and agents of decay. They are scum. They are evil. And they must be exposed, resisted, and held to account. And it seems all governments are doing this across the globe in lockstep. This is the real World War III, the war on humanity. And we need a revolution, not more voting. But that revolution starts in our minds. That's the kind of stuff I tell my kids. Do you think I'm traumatizing them?
Maybe, but they need to know. They need to know that you're not lying to them. That's for sure. All that is true. Government is organized crime. It's just a different crime faction. It's one we've agreed upon that we're okay for them to run us, which is crazy. I think it's important for kids to understand that it's okay to believe something different than what your teachers are telling you, and I get this from time to time with my daughter, where she'll have, I'll say, you know about this, and she'll say, yeah, that's all nonsense. You know about climate change, right? Like, I don't want to go too far, and I'm trying to probe, like, you know about a little bit about this climate change situation, they talk to you about that? She goes, yeah, it's all fake, but yeah, I know what you're talking about. And I go, okay, good. So there's still some areas where you know, or she'll say, we didn't go to the moon, did we? And you go, oh my God, yes, let's have a conversation. You know, so there's still some areas where there's some free thought, and I like to encourage that as much as I can, and give people a different, you know, version of reality. Because in the States, you know, when we grow up as kids, there's certain rituals that they put us through in school, which is stand up, put your hand on your heart, face the flag and recite the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge of allegiance to the flag of the United States. And you go through this and you do it reflexively as a kid. And now as an adult, I listen and I go, that's some straight up state sanctioned propaganda in that classroom right there. Oh, it's like, put your hand over your heart and put your other hand on the globe that's sitting in your room and face the flag and you go, oh, so they teach you this flag worship early on, do they? And it was done to me, and I didn't recognize it as being nefarious, and I was never really asked to go do anything with this loyalty as a kid, but it's embedded in you. So I love that you're counteracting that with your kids. We need to do that. If we don't do it, the state will program them for us, right? So we have to counteractivate.
Dude, 100%.
Antidote.
And one of the things I've noticed is all like the old teachers are all gone. All the teachers are super young, woke as hell.
Yeah, they are
super young, and oh god, and there's some like just overweight, middle-aged women. Like that's the death of society there for you. I hate to say this, middle-aged fat women who are bitter, resentful, hate young, pretty, slim women, hate successful women who are healthy, hate young men, hate any man who's successful, all freaking communists. Anyway, sorry, sidetracked. But basically, the schools, like, they're teaching them, like, apparently in the assembly, they say, oh, the government's great, the government does this. But I never got that as a kid. Like, what the hell? And, like, my kids tell me this every day. So we chat about all of this, and they tell me, oh, Daddy, you don't know the nonsense today. Today they were saying again, the planet's dying. They're so stupid. Like, don't they understand? Plants need carbon dioxide to breathe, Daddy. I can't believe this. I was like, yeah, baby. And it's like my kids are now totally switched on to the point where, I took them aside the other day and I said to them in the garden, I said, look, guys, listen, just stop playing for a second. I said, look, all the stuff that I've taught you and you now know is a blessing and a curse. And they went, what's a curse? And I had to explain what curse is. I was like, the blessing is that you're going to be immune to the lies that the government and the media are going to be telling you, and you're not going to have horrible injections in your arm and all that kind of stuff. But the curse is you're going to be quite lonely. Most of the people that you will meet as you grow up are going to be brainwashed. They're going to be like little computer programs. They're going to be walking around like sheep. They won't know how to think, and they will actually find you scary. They will be scared of you because you're different and you're able to think for yourself and question. They will not understand why you're different. That might make you feel lonely, but I don't want you to, because there will be other people like you. There will be other lions like you, and it's just a matter of finding them. But it's going to be difficult to find them because most people are not going to be like you. But the other blessing is that these people will not have the skill set that you will have. You will survive and flourish and be successful when they won't be. They'll be dumbed down, stupid, lazy, brainwashed. They won't be creative. They won't know how to think. They'll be stuck on their iPhones or their smartphones and their social media. They'll be chasing instant gratification, one thing after another. So they'll be like in a car on a freeway. They'll be like slow moving cars, lots of them. Like they're annoying. They're like an obstacle. But you're going to be like this zippy car that can zip around them. So, yeah. And you're going to have to almost go underground. Like you want to be like an orca. Like most of the time you're under the water, people don't even know you're there. Because if they see that fin, they're going to shit themselves. You're just going to have to, these are kind of conversations I have with them. And they're like, yeah, Daddy, we get that already. We're already like that. I'm like, awesome.
Yeah. We have that. That's great advice too. That's really great advice to talk to your kids about this, because there is a feeling of isolation. I mean, we even experienced it as adults where we watched members of our friend group or members of our family break away from us in 2020. Or whenever we had the awakening and we started to ask questions about things, people see that as threatening. Like, stop. Hey, stop. You're drawing too much attention to us over here. You keep asking these questions, you're going to get us, noticed in a bad way, or you're going to get yourself noticed. Well, I mean, I can't help but ask questions. I have questions about this, and I don't think it's wrong to have questions about the world that we live in. The people that are telling you that you don't deserve an answer to it, those are some dangerous people out there. And not that I would believe half of the answers I got anyway, but the shut up and do as you're told, this is the way we've always done it, that's a weakness that's infecting people here in the States in a big way. There's a lot of weakness being exposed. Very few people stand up to what is right, because what is right, it comes with consequences. It comes with financial consequences or job consequences, as you experienced, or both, really, what you went through. But what am I going to do? I'm not the type of person who's going to sit down and shut up and be good about it. I just am not wired that way. And I think it's okay to push back. I mean, we get trained to not push back against authority. I mean,
Dude, can I quickly say another thing I remembered? By the way, your podcast on the Greater Israel Project was amazing. That's a work of art.
Thank you.
Seriously, I want to write Substack on it. I need a transcript. I'm gonna, like, all the little questions that you said, like why did they do this and why did they do that? It was just because that's a really good way of making people think, asking questions. And you, like, there's this there was a Pfizer contract that was a guy found. His name's called Eden. He's Israeli but living in Russia, and Jewish, and he found out this Pfizer contract, and it's like the biggest BS ever, and he leaked it and talked about it, and that's how he made his name. I've had him on my podcast. I've had lots of chats with him. He seems like a really nice guy, cares about his kid, good human being. And then October 7th comes along, and it's like he thinks Israel's the most moral army. He thinks the Palestinians deserve what's coming, that it's all the Hamas's fault. And I just can't reconcile it. And I'm like, dude, what is your problem? How can you not see Zionism is a bad thing? It's colonialism, it's theft, it's stealing other people's land and appropriating their food and their culture and their dance. Like Israel looks at something and it'll be like, oh, yeah, that looks nice, that's mine now. That's Israeli. That's Israeli food. That's Israeli music. That's Israeli land. Like, there was nothing there before. We made it up because we stole it. Like, that's how they do things. And like, he just can't see that. And it's like, but like, that podcast of yours was so good. I sent it to him. And I was like, oh. Yeah, it didn't go down the way I thought it would go. I thought, in my stupid, naive head, I thought it'd be a light bulb moment, and he'd be like, oh my goodness, yeah, so many good points, you're right. It was like, oh, you're just becoming a what's his name? Fuentes, that guy? Nick Fuentes?
Yeah.
It's like, oh, you're now just becoming like Nick Fuentes. I was like, oh God, here we go. Like, that's it. Name calling. You just...
Now I definitely need everybody to go and give me 5-star reviews to counteract the 1-star review that guy most definitely gave this show after listening to the Greater Israel Project. You're not gonna be happy. I wasn't making friends with that episode, but that had been that had been something I was working on for a while. But I think that it's important to really just ask questions about a variety of things and things that we've normalized our entire lives, and like the relationship, Israel's our greatest ally and everything. Well, what if we examined that statement, Israel is our greatest ally, and we had some questions about it? Like, would you be okay with that? And a lot of people are uncomfortable going down that path because they know that there are repercussions, because the truth is in opposition to what the narrative is. The narrative is Israel's the most moral army in the world, and that they're just defending themselves, and we have a right to exist, and all that stuff. And the truth is that section, that group that is doing that, which doesn't represent everybody in Israel, I must state, but that group that is doing it is a stain on humanity. They are the worst people on the planet. They are doing things intentionally to liquidate an entire group of people. I can't be quiet or pretend like that's not happening.
But dude, you know what?
That hurts my
Let's
soul.
forget about these Palestinians, right? Because most of them are Muslims, right? They're just smelly
Right. That's it.
incest ridden, rapists, child abusers, like you don't have that in Israel at all. Like these Palestinians are just
they're terrible for all those things.
Yeah, the Palestinians are scum of the earth. Yeah, let's not talk about the Christian Palestinians, because there's no such thing as Christian Palestinians. Like, Israel never bombs churches. Like, that doesn't happen. Of course not. No. So let's just talk about Israel, though. Like, look, some of the perks of being the greatest ally is they're always there to film things for you. Like at a wedding or 9/11. They're just great. They're there. Like, they're there to film really important things in your life. So that's one of the great things about them. Another really good thing about having the greatest ally of America is, like, they're really good at spyware and surveillance tech. So, don't you know your government needs to spy on its citizens? Let's just outsource it to Israel. Like, oh my God, like they do all this stuff over there. It's just brilliant. All their spyware, their surveillance. It's fantastic. And then, you know what? Every government needs to run a blackmail ring. Like, let's just outsource it to Israel, our greatest ally. Like, they're just amazing. And then if we ever want to bomb anyone that we don't like, we just get Israel to do it. It's like, they're the greatest ally. And they also like bomb pagers as well. Like, they're just so convenient and handy. Like, they're such good friends. Like, they're the kind of people you'd want to babysit your kids. Don't you think?
Well, you have to do what you love, and they love and they love this. They've come into this. They certainly do love the indiscriminate killings and murders and things that go along with this. Because their God told them that in their magic book that everything they do is above reproach and moral, and everybody else is the problem, and therefore that's all we need. That's all the evidence we need to go on in this magic book that's been translated 15 times from a bunch of obscure languages. It says clearly right here that all this stuff belongs to us. Don't you see? God's a real estate agent with deeds and contracts and all that good stuff. I mean, it's just,
dude, I'm going to ask you.
Yeah.
I'm going to ask you, this is a quiz question, right? This is a pub quiz question. Imagine you're down at your local Irish pub, okay? Which one of these statements did God make, and which one, or was it the devil? Was it the devil, or was it God? By deception, we will wage war.
Oh, I know who these devils are.
Is that the army of God, or the army of Satan?
No.
By deception,
we will wage
Moloch.
War. That is the IDF, Moloch's warriors. This goes
Dude,
back to the great noticing.
You won the quiz. You get a free pint now.
Thank you. Yeah. Well, are we like, I feel the need to talk about these things publicly. I'm not trying to paint one group with a broad brush and say that every single thing that they do is negative. I understand that a lot of people are living under a tyrannical government in Israel, but boy, when I see these man on the street interviews, and I get it, you can kind of manipulate them and show some and not show the others, but there's a lot of average Israelis that feel, men, women, old women, children, they ask them, how do you feel? What should we do towards the Palestinians? And they're insects. Let's squish them. They're bugs. Let's get them. Let's get them off of our land. And I think, oh boy, man, we're going to have
okay, so I've got a theory of that. I've got a theory about that. I don't think it's that. I think it's like, actually, they're not exceptional. They're like every other group of human beings. So what do I mean by that? Like, apparently, if you accept the mainstream view, Germans were told that gypsies and the Slavs and the Jews were subhuman and that they were not good people and they were othered. And the Germans, for the most part, went along with that idea. Now, does that mean all Germans are bad people and fundamentally are bad people or genetically bad people? Or were they brainwashed or fed a lot of propaganda and made to believe those things? I feel like a lot of Jews have gone through trauma, and it's a traumatized country where the individuals go through trauma-based mind control, and part of it is to make them feel that they're victims, that everyone hates them, everyone wants to kill them, and to stop the next Holocaust, they have to be the one holding the whip or the gun. And that's the psyche. So these people are fundamentally traumatized. It's a traumatized country. And in many respects, the people at the top have abused and used the average decent person in Israel and made them into what they are, which is in many respects narcissistic. The narcissist, if you ever gone out with a narcissistic girlfriend or boyfriend, it's always your fault. They're always a victim. Even when they slap you or punch you, it's because of you. They just did it because you hurt them and they were hurting. Like, that narcissistic psychopath, partner, like they're always the eternal perpetual victim and you're the bad person. And they gaslight you. They invert everything. Well, yeah, that's what we've got now. That's exactly what we've got. Not just in Israel, but with our government, with the whole global government. That's what we've got. Like, we've got this planet narcissism and psychopathy, and it's run amok. So I think genuinely, like, maybe I'm naive and people will be calling me out now and say, oh, no, you're wrong. Oh my God, you're such an idiot. I think it's the Jews, and it's their Talmudic faith. Like, most Jews probably don't even know about the Talmudic chapters and stuff about, Jesus boiling in excrement, or the fact we're going cattle. And if you showed it to the average Jew, they'd be like, what the hell is that in our book? Oh my God, no, we don't think that. Just like, there's stuff in the Bible or the Quran, like the average Christian and Muslim would be like, oh God, I don't believe in that. No, I wouldn't do that. Are you sure that's in our holy book? Like, I'm like, I think most like I said this to someone, like, the way the right-wing conservative influencers make out Muslims around the world, 1 billion Muslims, it's like they're all rabid jihadists waiting to chop people's heads off and, marry, and rape all the Christian women and chop all the Christian men's heads off and kill all the Jews. And it's like, actually, do you know what? Most Muslims, 99.9999%, are sitting down going, should we go to the mall for ice cream, or should we go out and see a movie, or should we watch what should we watch on the TV, or what's for dinner tonight? Should we go? Kids are like, Daddy, can we go to the park? Like, that's what your average Muslim family is doing right now on this planet clown world. The average Muslim is not in Indonesia or Morocco or Algeria or Pakistan or India or Bangladesh or fucking China or anywhere in the world going, right, how are we going to get this global caliphate? How do we get the infidels tonight? Like, that's not fucking happening, right? That's not the average conversation of the Muslim. And I think, like, the average Jew is also not thinking, how do we get these goy and take over the world and install our one world government in Jerusalem? Like, it's not the average person. Like, the average person is just used and abused by their evil fucking governments. And in Israel, you've just got a very evil government. It's a Rothschild entity. And you've got a whole population who's brainwashed into doing evil things. But they're not exceptional in that. So what do I mean again by that? I'll give you another example, completely different. Let's take COVID. Now, you said yourself, oh, we, so many people in our families and our friends stopped talking to us and thought we were crazy. So, yeah, let's talk about all the doctors who said you need to get vaccinated. All the doctors that said, you know what, we should deny medical treatment to those who are unvaccinated. How about all the mums and dads who said, I'm not going to see you, son, because you're not vaccinated. I'm not going to see my grandchild because you're not vaccinated. Are all these people evil, inherently evil, or were they all manipulated and brainwashed into doing and saying horrible things? So that's like billions of people on this planet did some crazy shit in the last 5 years, and really bad stuff as well. Masked up, took part in medical apartheid. Social distancing is not social. It's the opposite of social. But they did all this because they thought they were good people. So the evil satanic mastermind does a wonderful job of convincing good people into doing really bad things in the belief that they're doing good things.
And I think it's just the same in Israel. Like, a lot of these Israelis genuinely think, Amalek are here, we need to destroy their seed, and we need to friggin' do blah, blah, blah. And they think they're the good guys, and they're the victims, and they're really waging war against evil. When in reality, they're doing the evil shit. They're bombing. Like, I'll give you an example. Peter Bregan. You ever heard of Peter Bregan?
Through you, I've heard of him. Yeah.
Dr. Peter Bregan, like this really famous psychiatrist. He was on point with, in the 70s, he was calling out lobotomies, he was calling out electroconvulsive therapy. Bzzz. You know, remember all these American like movies, like we're all in a loony asylum and they're all getting zapped in their brains and they come out dribbling. Yeah. Like, he was the one speaking out against all that when it was not cool to speak out against it. Then he spoke out against all the SSRIs and antidepressants and all the drugs. Again, when it was really not cool to talk about. I mean, it's still not cool to talk about these things. Like, it's still not cool. And he was like talking about 20, 30 years ago. I mean, way ahead of his curve. Then he spoke out against COVID and the shots. Like, he's on the ball, right? But I had him on the podcast. We talked about Israel a little bit. And then suddenly he's like, I'm a Zionist. I'm a Jew. I'm a Zionist. You know, when I was a kid, I watched this black and white movie in the 1940s and 50s, whatever. And there were Auschwitz and the Holocaust. And I remembered that. It burned in my memory. And we were never going to be victims again. You know, is that not a form of trauma? He went for trauma. He went for trauma where he thought, like, everyone's out to get him and his people. And if they didn't get their homeland, and if they didn't get the upper hand, the whip, it was going to happen to him. And so suddenly this guy who was talking to me on the podcast about love and how you treat people with psychiatric illness is through love, and how, like, we're all part of one global God consciousness and it's all love. Everything is love. Suddenly when it came to Palestine, I was like, yeah, well, I was like, but what about the bombing? Like, they're bombing innocent women and children. Yeah, it's the Arabs' faults because they're not letting them out. I'm like, what? Like, it's not the Israeli bombs and the jets. It's not their fault. It's the Arab countries for not letting these Palestinians out. Maybe the Palestinians want to stay in their home. Like, maybe Americans don't want to go to Canada. Like, maybe the answer isn't China. Like, it isn't the fact that China is bombing America. Like, take, for example, if China was bombing America, and it's like, well, the problem is Canada and Mexico aren't letting the Americans in. Like, what? Like, no, don't blame it on the Mexicans and Canadians. China is bombing America and killing millions of people, and all the hospitals are burning down. They're bombing their camps, their refugee stations, everything. And you're saying it's Canada and Mexico's fault for not letting the Americans in? Are you serious? And he's like, yeah. I'm like, what? And like, so this guy like just totally lost the plot. Like, he was amazing, wonderful human being, like in my head for most of the podcast. And then suddenly we talk about Gaza and he's like flipped. I was like, what? So it's messed up, man. I don't know how to explain it. It's just freaking messed up.
I think the Israelis have been traumatized into thinking that they're victims. And the Americans, we've been traumatized into thinking that we're heroes. You should hear the way we talk about World War II, how we came in there and saved the day. It's magical thinking. I mean, it didn't happen that way. But in our minds, it's like what that country over there needs is us. We need to inject ourselves into it. So we're as brainwashed in believing that we're the solution to the problems as the Israelis are, and brainwashed into thinking that they're just always the victims and never the
I hate to say this,
tyrants that they are.
Coming to the Second World War, I hate to say this, guys, everyone listening, America didn't save the day. All those Hollywood movies, America comes to save the day. It's not true. Russia saved the day.
It's not true.
The Soviet army defeated Hitler. And they sacrificed some like 40 million of their citizens, civilians, soldiers, like the biggest death toll. Just look it up, the charts. Like Britain is like 200,000 deaths. America's like, God knows, same.
500,000.
Like French. Yeah. And then like Russia, like it goes off the scale. And why is this important? Because it just shows you the lie and the propaganda that, like, you know, America came in and G.I. Joe saved the day. No, not really. Like, it was pretty much just a cleanup job by the time they came in. Like, honestly, yeah. Russia did most of the job. And why is that important? From a historical point of view, you need to understand the toll that it took on Russia and the psyche. Every family had grandfathers, uncles who were wiped out. Like, the men were decimated in that war. So that memory, that great patriotic war, is burned in their psyche. and it shapes modern day Russian attitudes. So like when NATO's on their doorstep going knock, 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 hello, we're here. Like they like get a little bit, like their pulse quickens. They get a little bit stressed out by it. You know, it's stuff like that. You need to know your history and your historical context. Like, you know, let's just take big bad Mexico. Imagine Mexico 50 years ago, you know, waged war against America and Canada, but America took the brunt of it, and like 50 million Americans died. Like, do you think you'd ever forget about it? I mean, imagine the amount of Hollywood movies that'd be talking about 50 million Americans dying, cities burning to the ground, and, you know, drought, famine, children raped, women raped. You know, you'd never hear the end of it. That's what happened to Russia. So everything matters in the past, and I think people have like this either amnesia or they drink the Kool-Aid that's fed to them by the government and the Hollywood apparatus. But anyway, listen, before we wrap up, we've only got a short amount of time. I'm taking over this podcast because I'm a podcast host too. Dude, what is going on here? Who are the bad people? Like, I keep hearing it's the crown, the British crown's behind everything. No, it's the black nobility. No, it's the Committee of 300. It's the Jews. It's the Zionists. It's the communists. It's the bankers. It's the aliens. It's another dimension. Dude, like, have you got down to the bottom of this? Like, what the fuck is going on? Like, what's happening?
I think there's a lot of different groups. I think there's no one centralized organization. I think there's a lot of warring factions that have different ideas of how they want things to run. I wouldn't doubt that there is a non-human influence in this operating outside of the shadows. I wouldn't have said that before having a profound psychedelic experiences, but now that I am open to the possibility that there's more to this world than what we see with our eyes, and that there are external forces, you know, much in the same way we stick our hands into a river and pull a fish out and we're coming from another dimension as far as that fish is concerned. I think that there's other dimensions that have influence over us, and some people are trying to communicate with those entities and do their bidding for them. I think there's some of that. I think there's some good old fashioned just human emotions at play here of psychopathy, domination, control, power, things like that. Tough, tough to wrap your head around that mentality if you're a good person trying to understand the thoughts of a psychopath who thinks, like Madeleine Albright, 500,000 dead Iraqi kids, or we think it's worth it. You know, it's tough to put yourself in that mindset of people that think like that. But I think that there are powerful forces that sometimes cooperate with one another and sometimes do not. But it's the powerful versus the powerless. And I think that we are, regardless of what color or ethnicity or religious backing these people are, they see us as beneath them and weaker than them. And strong people like to dominate weak people, and these groups dominate society, to dominate humanity. I think there's a segment of humanity that needs to be dominated, unfortunately, needs to be told what to do, needs to be herded. It just is. I wish it wasn't the way it is, but there's a herd mentality for a reason. So some people are going to play the role of the game warden, you know, the guy out there with the whip who's saying, this group, you guys go there, and this group, you know, you stay over here, and this group over here, we're culling because it's time to eat, you know, and they're in charge. And for a lot of us down on the farm, on the animal farm, you know, a lot of people just have their heads down and they're just eating away at the grass, and that's just what they're doing. But some people are paying attention and looking around, and I feel like that's kind of where we are. We're in this group, like, we're paying attention. We see what's going on. We don't want to be in any group. I don't want to be the boss, and I don't want to be the slave. I want to be outside of this farm. And for those of us that see it, it's a frustrating existence, honestly. It'd be easier to be one or the other, but to be in the middle and see it and not want to be a part of it, it's a burden, I think, for a lot of us.
Yeah. You and I are like Sigma males. So like, you don't want to be the alpha male. You don't want a harem of people following you and you're the boss man. But you're not a beta. You're not like, tell me what to do. Yes, sir. Okay. You're like,
I'm strong. I'm tough. I'll go where I want to go and do what I want to do. If you want to tag along with me, great. I like a little bit of company. But actually, if you're doing some dumb shit, I'm going to go on my own because I'm quite comfortable being on my own as well. That's where we are. That's where
exactly
we are. And
how I feel about things.
And I agree with what you're saying 100%. And I think sometimes, honestly, I think, you know what? I don't blame the bad people for doing what we're doing because what they're doing, because basically, we're a bunch of dumb asses. Like, we're so stupid and lazy and indoctrinated and brainwashed by them. I get that. But, we choose convenience when it's not convenient for our health. We consume their garbage. We poison ourselves. We don't have no spine. We have no courage. We attack each other. We attack anyone the tall poppy, anyone who rises above, we pull them back down like crabs. If we act like sheep, is it a surprise they treat us like sheep? Is it a surprise that they cull us? Is it if we act like a herd of animals, is it surprising that they treat us like cattle then? Not really. And I think one of the ways we get out of this shit show and truly transcend and elevate humanity to a different level is where everyone raises their game. Can you imagine everyone's like a lion? The government wouldn't even dare to say anything to us because we'd be like, frack you. We're dragging them out of their offices and beating them up. I'm not saying we should do any physical violence. I'm just saying, mentally, an example of we should be tough. The government should be scared of us. But the reality is we're terrified of the government. And we just say, yes, thank you. Oh my God, look, rain is falling on us. Thank you, hallelujah. While the government politician pisses on our head. That's our mindset. And all of us need to up our game and not look for heroes and messiahs. We need to look in the mirror, find the hero there. That's where our savior is. If you believe in God, well, God resides in all of us. So, up your game. Stop waiting for someone to save you. And it's too much. We all need to up the ante a bit. Have a bit more self-responsibility, self-worth, self-love, take care of ourselves. Just start saying no. And that's what I meant by the revolution starts in our mind. But right now we just buy their bullshit, consume their garbage and their lies, and attack anyone who's telling the truth. And it's well, okay, fine. Then we deserve to be in this shithole because ultimately they derive all their power from us. Literally. We are their little battery fueling their matrix system. We just need to say enough is enough. What I haven't really figured out in my head though is what's the ideal situation afterwards? How do we create a better future for humanity? And I'm still working on that. Is it super decentralized? But then if it's super decentralized, how do you stop it from being taken over by an external, force? I don't know how
we can work this all out at Anarchapulco, the largest anarchist conference in Acapulco, Mexico. Or this coming year, it'll be in Puerto Vallarta. It'd be great if we could get you out there for that. It'd be so much fun. There's a lot of health, wellness doctors, a lot of doctors who have left and converted. But ultimately, at its core, the anarchist movement is about self-determination. It's about not relying on the state for handouts. It's about holding yourself accountable and being responsible for your own future. And instead of outsourcing that to the state for them to mismanage that, you've got to take control of yourself. Ladies and gentlemen, that's Doc Malik. Where's the best place for people to find you, to support you, to get on that Substack and check out what you're doing, because you're doing quite a bit, and it's my pleasure to have you on. I'm really glad you joined me for the show.
Oh, dude, thanks. Listen, it's my fault. We could have gone longer, but I've got these consultations that I need to do now. I'm so sorry, but yeah. Sorry. I mean, we could have talked about Antarctica. We could have talked about aliens, Egypt, pyramids.
Next time.
And free energy. There's so much shit to talk about. I was like, oh my God, we could talk about so much. But next time. Thanks, dude. I mean, it's probably one of the strangest podcasts you've ever done. So I apologize for that, by the way.
That's all right. It's okay. You need a good stranger every now and then.
We could also talk a shit ton more about the medical system and just navigating the healthcare, sick care system That's another one. Like, because I'm coming from inside the system, like, oh man, I can tell your listeners like how you should approach your next consultation with a doctor. Like,
excellent. Next time we do that, let's do it. We'll get the inside track on how to deal with doctors, how to deal with the medical industry as well. That'd be good.
I honestly, because it's all about solutions. Like I've heard you like talk about this on your podcast. Like it's not just enough talking about the problems. You need to have solutions, and like reclaiming your health is a big one. Like if you're strong physically, mentally, spiritually, resilient, you're a tough motherfucker. Like no one can like beat you down. But if you're sick and you're indebted because of the bills and you're weakened and you don't have the energy to fight or even think, well, there you go. You're in the system. They've got you. So, you know, I would love to share with you next time, like how you can navigate the sick care system. Anyway, look, you can find me on simply docmalik.com. That's DOCMALIK, not Malik, Malik, docmalik.com. And you'll find links to like where you can find consultations, my Substack, my newsletter, whatever. Like, and like, you know, you were saying, Charlie, you know, it takes 5 seconds. Even if you don't want to spend the $5 a month, just do a follow and a 5-star review. And the reason why we keep going on about it is we don't get paid by Spotify or Apple or anybody. But like when you have lots of reviews, you go higher up in the algorithm ranking. So when someone new comes onto their Spotify, you pop up as a suggestion. And that person will be like, huh, what's this? And what's macroaggressions? What's Doc Malik on his health? I remember part of us fighting back is to awaken everybody to the lies that are going on, to wake them up, give them the red pill. And the less people that are in this matrix, the quicker it's going to fall down. But we can only get to that group of people, the normies out there, if we break through the algorithms. And that means you literally taking 2 seconds to press the 5-star review. I mean, like you could leave 4, but that's just don't bother with that. That's not nice. You could leave a 1-star. Don't do that. Please don't do that. 5, please, 5.
That's
5-star, 5-star. Yeah, and that's it. That's all I want to say. Thanks, everybody.
Well, we're glad to have you on. That's Doc Malik, everybody. Support his outstanding work. And if you want to connect with me, macroaggressions.io is the website to find everything. Thanks, everybody. Talk to you again soon.